Hello, this is the Hot Topic here on Monday, March 3rd, reeling from match week 2 in Major League Soccer. One of the headlines, a team had to do some damage control. One Leo Messi did not make the trip from Miami to Houston. Miami ended up coming away with a decisive victory, but there was no GOAT in attendance.
Yeah, this has been a recurring theme in Major League Soccer since Lionel Messi arrived. When he doesn't go somewhere away from South Florida, it becomes a story. This Houston thing is the latest installment in that saga. This, what is interesting to me is that this always comes from there are reports, and then the club that Messi and company is supposed to be visiting has to respond to said reports. I believe it was Michelle Kaufman of the Miami Herald who first related that Messi would not be traveling with Inter Miami to Houston for this weekend's match. And that prompted this statement from the Houston Dynamo. The Dynamo are excited to host Inter Miami at Shell Energy Stadium on Sunday evening. The recently shared player status report for the match did not include forward Lionel Messi, but it has been reported he did not make the trip to Houston. Unfortunately, we have no control over who plays for our opponent.
I love that sentence. That's
such
what a
a
sentence.
funny thing to say. Wow. We look. Go ahead.
That should be like a banner or a title to a new segment. Unfortunately, we have no control over our plays for our opponents.
Can we get a tifo? Can we get a banner? Can some fans, can some supporters group put together a banner that says, unfortunately, we have no control over who plays for our opponent? We look forward to hosting everyone tomorrow evening. This is obviously, they put this on Saturday. This is what I'm talking about. The reports a day ahead of the game. Incredible atmosphere, celebration of soccer. To show our appreciation, fans who attend tomorrow's night's match can claim a complimentary ticket to a future Dynamo match this season. Additional details will be provided early next week. Okay, so I guess good on the Dynamo for trying to make good on the problem of Messi not showing up for a game that people obviously were excited to see him in. I get for those people who are like, Messi's coming to Houston, I'm buying tickets, I'm going to the game, this is going to be great. Disappointment. I saw when Inter Miami was rolling goals in against Houston this weekend, I saw plenty of pink jerseys in the crowd. Like, they travel well. They're not traveling. They're right there in the backyard, but they're there, right? They want to see Messi play. So I guess good on Houston. It's true, though, right? They don't have any control over whether or not Messi comes to Houston or plays in the game. And I don't have a ton of sympathy for people who pay for tickets to see a player play when this is sports, right? This happens. It does. Players get injured. Now, obviously, it's made worse because there's no reports of an injury for Messi. That this is, I believe Javier Mascherano said or intimated, I don't know what language he did, that this was load management, which is, that phrase is loaded. Sorry for that pun. It's a loaded phrase because it's really just saying we're resting him. Right, he's 37 years old. We've got a bunch of games. They got to go to Jamaica for CONCACAF Champions Cup. We're resting our guy. He's, we're not going to take him to Houston. And if the Dynamo were marketing this game or tickets for any section of the Dynamo season by saying Messi's coming, buy your tickets. Right, if the Houston Dynamo were using Lionel Messi in their marketing materials, I don't know. Have you seen anything like that, Robert? Have you seen any Houston using marketing materials with Lionel Messi? I have not. Right?
I can't say I'm scouring the Houston soccer media on a daily, but I have not seen it advertised as part of this news. I didn't see anyone, lambasting Houston for advertising, like buy one, get one free Messi tickets or something crazy like that.
It's possible that they did. Okay, I don't have any direct. I'm seeing a report that they did. I'm seeing a report that they did include Messi trying to attract a big crowd. And there's two things here. If you're the Dynamo, Robert, can you pass up the opportunity to market against Messi? To leverage Messi's potential presence? Like, how, as a business, especially in a place like Houston where you're trying to stand out and get attention, and we've got a crowded sports market, and maybe Houston, who hadn't been good for a very long time, had sort of eroded their fan base, and they got to get them back, and we just want to get more fans in the building. How can you not market with Lionel Messi, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, I think if you put a caveat, purchase tickets for the opportunity to see him, not necessarily like paint it as some sort of guarantee that he's going to be there. But I mean, I know as a soccer fan or any kind of sport, I want to see, the Pistons play against the Lakers, hoping for the fact to see LeBron play. But I'm not going to say like because I got that ticket, 100% LeBron's going to play. And MLS might. I know NBA hasn't necessarily handled that well, but this is something that NBA has to deal with their load management, and bad teams regularly market who's coming to town rather than their own
Right.
team.
Right.
But they haven't necessarily handled the same way, so it's hard to say. We got a somewhat relevant comment in the chat talking about Drogba at USL when Drogba was playing for Phoenix Rising. Apparently, they would have to deal with this sort of stuff when he wouldn't
Yeah.
travel to away games
Look,
either. But I don't think, I mean, unless Houston was trying to set some sort of guarantee. I think that fans shouldn't be as naive to think as just because that team is coming 100%,
right.
he's locked into play.
If again, because the marketing materials included Messi, and I'm seeing that they even posted to social media
Come see
a
Messi
Messi
play.
tattoo that one of the Dynamo players had. Like, oh, Messi's coming, and this player has a Messi tattoo. How exciting! And then he doesn't show. That does create some level of responsibility on the Dynamo's part. Is a free ticket enough? Is that enough payment? Sort of paying back again. This is such a tricky thing because there's no contractual legal requirement. Although, as we're getting ready for the show, last year Messi didn't go to Vancouver, and there's a lawsuit. There was a lawsuit. Somebody was asking for his $404 back that he spent on inflated tickets for Lionel Messi's visit when Lionel Messi didn't travel. Man, that feels weird to me. Like
It's always
you're
a
buying-
possibility that someone's not going
Yeah,
to play. Like you could
exactly.
slip in the shower on the day of the game and, hurt your ankle. I mean, anything can happen.
I mean that yes. I mean right. Like there's when you buy a ticket for an event that is not scripted, right?
Yeah.
That is not like if you were going to I don't know, Herons on Ice, and it was Lionel Messi and Inter Miami were going to put on a show and skate around, and it was like, oh, this is a traveling show, and this is scripted. And oh, look, he's dressed like Olaf from Frozen. That's great, Lionel Messi out there. And then obviously, if they promise you this, that, and then it doesn't come, I think you have some recourse. I think you have some claim to be made whole. But I don't know, man. This is a thing, and so again, this is a double-edged sword in American soccer. Sometimes these big names come. It makes sense for a club like Houston or Chicago or whoever to say, hey, this guy, this world famous, the best player we have ever seen is coming to play here. At least we think he is. We can't guarantee. Should their marketing materials have said, like, we think Lionel Messi's coming, buy a ticket, he might show up.
The opportunity to see Leo Messi's team.
Come in, come watch maybe Lionel Messi play some soccer. We can't guarantee that, but he might be there. Should they not do that on the off chance he doesn't show? Or is that sort of dereliction of their duty just to build their fan base and get more people in the door? And obviously, look, Angus is saying it here. You arrive at the match to watch your team instead of the opponent.
There you go.
I mean, yeah, that would be great. And if we had a fully grown out, look, MLS is MLS. It's doing okay. No one's going to say it's like the greatest league or the culture is so deep that you never have to do stuff like this, right? And you just said the NBA, which is an incredible product, an incredibly successful product. There are still teams who market the visit of star players from other teams.
Mm-hmm.
We absolutely, and maybe this is an American problem we have because what we want is to entertainment before we're talking about the passion of supporting our club. If there were 30,000 people willing to show up to every Houston Dynamo match to support the Dynamo, regardless of who the Dynamo were playing, they wouldn't need to market Lionel Messi to sell tickets. But I don't think we're there. We're clearly not. It's an ideal I would like to get to. It's sort of like saying, man, it would be really great if every time the United States men's national team played Mexico on American soil, there were more U.S. men's national team fans than Mexico fans. That would be great. How do we make it happen? Except just demanding people show up? Like making them buy tickets? You can't do those things.
I think that also at the same time, obviously, Messi has a deity status. He is like a one of one. But
yes.
I mean, they still were entertained by the visitors. One of probably the most underrated players of the generation still did his thing at Houston Dynamo's home venue. Luis Suarez, arguably, if he didn't bite people, he would be in the Messi Ronaldo conversation, possibly, if he didn't have the PR.
He didn't bite people.
If he didn't have the PR that surrounded him. I mean, he is arguably one of the best goal scorers of his generation. Doesn't often get in that conversation. Had a pretty unreal night. I think he had 3 assists and a goal in last night's game. So, yeah. I mean, they were still entertained down there in Houston for the team that was not wearing orange.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting, right? If you went out to see Messi play and were disappointed to see that he hadn't traveled, and then Miami wins the game 4-1, Segovia has rocketed out of the gates to start the new season, the 21-year-old Venezuelan.
Yeah.
He's looked great. Are you satisfied? Or are you still like, I didn't get to see Lionel Messi walk around for about 80 minutes and then maybe run a couple times and maybe score a goal? How upset are you? It's a really interesting question.
Yeah, I mean, Suarez is near that status, but I don't think anyone has Suarez's visit to Houston circled on their calendar in the same way. And I'm sure people are still disappointed in the fact that they lost big. And it wasn't.
But that's the thing. Like
either,
it wouldn't drive nearly as much interest, right? Because obviously, again, Messi is an alien. He's on a different planet. But if Lionel Messi wasn't an Inter Miami player, let's just imagine he wasn't an Inter Miami player, but Luis Suarez had still come to Miami to play. Plenty of people would be like, "Oh, I'm going to go buy a ticket so I can see Luis Suarez play." That's not a usual thing. We don't always get players like that in Major League Soccer. Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez played with Lionel Messi and was part of that team at Barcelona. And look at what he did at Liverpool and all these things. And yes, he's bitten people. And yes, he did intentionally handle the ball on the line against Ghana in a World Cup. Like, yeah, but he's Luis Suarez. Like, he's a star in his own right. So if Lionel Messi wasn't an Inter Miami player, then maybe those same people would have bought tickets, probably at less inflated. This is why there's a lawsuit in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Right. Because the issue is the ticket prices get inflated, whether it's the club jacking up the ticket prices to take advantage of Messi's visit, or it's the secondary market, which is a problem, let's be honest, jacking up the prices and people saying, oh, I've got 2 tickets to Houston into Miami and their face value $75 or $50 and I'm charging $300 each. Like, people are going to be upset if they buy those tickets because Messi's supposed to come and then he doesn't. But where is the recourse? Who is ultimately responsible for that disappointment?
Unfortunately, we are not in control of who plays for our opponents.
Yeah, unfortunately. Like, can I just one more time? I just want to see it one more time and put it back up. Unfortunately, we have no control over who plays for our opponent. Now, by the way, it does say the recently shared player status report for the match did not include forward Lionel Messi. What that means is the status report, it would say he's out. So when he was not included, that means it didn't indicate he was going to be out. So Houston didn't know until the report, as I mentioned, probably the first one from Michelle Kaufman of the Miami Herald, which, obviously that part of it is also kind of like, does MLS need to step in when something like this is going on and give the team, the home team in this case in Houston, as much advance warning as possible if they are because I'm sure the league is saying market Lionel Messi, that's why we have him here, to market him. He's Apple TV and all this, push Lionel Messi. And then when he doesn't travel, which is the prerogative of it to Miami, Houston has to respond. Even though they can't control, unfortunately they have no control, they still have to respond. The league maybe needs to do better with, hey, Miami, is Leo traveling? As soon as you know he's not traveling, let us know so that we can tell Houston and Houston can get out in front of this as much as possible because they look bad on Saturday because of this.
Unfortunately, we cannot control who presses the subscribe button on the Morning Kick Around YouTube channel, but you can. If you haven't already done so, hit subscribe and tell your family and friends to do so. We've blasted past 1,000. That's a big landmark for us, but we are going to keep on going. So hit up Morning Kick Around at YouTube and hit the subscribe button. Follow along on social media at MKickaround, X, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Get your vote in for the name of the Morning Kick Around Rooster. Write us an email, morningkickaround@gmail.com, or support us financially if you're able to. Ko-fi.com/morningkickaround. You can do a one-time, buy us a coffee, $5, or maybe something larger or sustained. Anything helps the program.